Good afternoon, Keith Tebow from FRCmedia. Thank you for joining us today. It's been a while since we've got an update on our Regional Transportation Authority, SRTA, Southeastern Regional Transportation Authority, our local bus service. We like to get updates from time to time, and there's going to be some changes coming up beginning on October 1st. We thought we'd delve into those a little bit with the administrator of the Southeastern Regional Transit Authority, Erik Rousseau. Erik, how are you? Thanks for
Uh,
joining me.
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here.
So let's get right away to one of the big changes that are going to be happening on October 1st. Since the pandemic hit, riders have actually benefited in some ways from the pandemic in terms of free or reduced fares on the SRTA buses. But coming up on October 1st, the fares will be reverting. Fares will be going up on October 1st. But what's good for people to understand here is that they'll actually be reverting to the pre-COVID rates, not a big increase. Tell us about what's going to be happening beginning on October 1st.
Sure. Yeah. Coming out of having no fares, we wanted to try to ease our passengers into paying the fares again. So we did go to a dollar fare and for cash transactions, and we're going to be going up to the previous dollar 50 fare coming up on October 1st. One thing that is also good news is that there will be new pricing for multi-use passes, such as the monthly pass and the all-day pass, and the 1 week pass, all of which will see approximately a 25% reduction from pre-COVID levels. So while the full cash fare is going back to what it previously had been, there will be new opportunities for our passengers to benefit and save.
So in some ways, it'll benefit passengers who use SRTA quite often to, buy some of those longer term passes, either the monthly or the weekly passes, because in the long run, they'll save money, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. And another thing that we're really excited about trying out is we've changed how the transfer works when using stored value on a Charlie card. So if you load $5 or $10 onto a Charlie card and you tap your card to ride the bus, you'll get a discount by doing that. You'll only pay $1.25 for that trip. And in addition to that, we're changing the transfer policy when using that card. So you'll be able to still have access to one transfer, and that'll be to any bus. Traditionally, you'd have to ride down to the terminal, and then you could use a transfer on a bus leaving the terminal. In this instance, you could run down to the grocery store and get on the same bus coming back, as long as you can do it within a 2 hour window.
Oh, good. So another benefit for riders coming up. Talk a little bit, if you could, Erik, about there's continuing COVID protocols. Masks are required, I believe, for all riders on buses. Um, you know, has everyone sort of, I guess, accepted this sort of new normal for what you hear, or are there still some resistance from some riders about some of the COVID protocols?
I wouldn't go as far as to say resistance. I would say just continued frustration. But we really have very good mass compliance on our vehicles. We do fall under the TSA order, so masks are mandated at this point for public transportation through the middle of January, I believe. I would imagine that that's still going to be subject to change as things evolve. So it's challenging. We're doing our best to keep up with everything, but our passengers have really stepped up and done their part, so we appreciate that.
And obviously, the same cleaning protocols remain in place in terms of the buses when they return to the terminal every day. That they're cleaned adequately, so there's not any potential of any spread that way.
That's correct. Yep, we've kept up our cleaning protocols, and we actually have done really well with our air filtration on the vehicles. You do experience more windows open so that there's more fresh air flowing through the buses, but we have what you call MERV 13 filters on the buses now, and that's a fine enough filter to trap all COVID potential bacteria trying to travel through the bus.
Yeah. Let me talk a little bit about ridership. Obviously during COVID, ridership was down. I think the last time we spoke, I think it was sometime earlier this summer, late spring. Ridership was picking up a little bit. How's it looking now? Are more people getting confident with using sort of buses again? And What can you tell us in terms of those ridership levels?
At the moment, we're still a little bit down from where we were pre-pandemic. There are spots where we've actually grown. Midday trips are up in some areas, and I think that's reflective of people's habits having changed at this point. I don't know that people are going out as late as they used to pre-pandemic. So we're continuing to monitor that. We actually made a list of the top 50 transit agencies in the country in terms of their ridership recovery. We're at 78% according to the National Transit Database. So that's pretty good, but that means that there's still room for us to grow back to where we had been.
So I guess talk a little bit about how you're reaching out to people. I know that SRTA has a very active social media presence. I've seen posts on Facebook. Obviously, the website is updated. What other ways are you trying to encourage people to have trust again in public transportation here in our region?
I think the big thing for us is to continue to be in the places we've always been. There's been a lot of concerns and talk sort of at the Commonwealth wide of, how are we going to change service delivery? And I think that for our customers, knowing that we're committed to trying to be where we've always been at the times that we've always been there is the first step. And, we've been working on technology as well for our passengers so that they can see when the bus will be coming. Um, right now, we have real time signs at our terminals that say next bus is going to arrive in so many minutes. And so that all those things we're continuing to advance are really important, and just trying to continue to make sure that our passengers know that we're here for them when they're ready to travel.
Now, with the downtick, if you will, of those using the buses, and with combination of the fares going back to the pre-COVID levels, as you move forward, and maybe again, I don't know how the COVID money has been spent, and whether there's still some money there. Is there going to come a time where you may need to look at making some difficult decisions in terms of maybe raising fares if the ridership doesn't increase at all? I guess what's a timeline in terms of making any types of changes in that regard?
I wouldn't I wouldn't expect to see anything like that in the next year or so. And furthermore, for SRTA, balancing the books with fares really isn't a viable option. We need to be able to be affordable to our passengers. That may mean that there could potentially be a service change or reduction to offset that, but that's pretty far down the road at this point.
All right. Let me ask you, those who may be watching this that have ridden on a SRTA bus in Fall River have noticed that the terminal has been under construction for quite some time. There's being work done on the concrete decking in front of the terminal, though the terminal is still open. We had talked about this earlier in the summer, and it looks like the work is still going on. And I guess Mother Nature has been playing a role with that. Give us an update on the construction.
Yeah, it's been going on for a little bit now. So what we did is we removed the top layers of concrete and then got all the way down to the waterproofing, and we're changing out the waterproofing to make sure that the concrete underneath that stays in good shape. And then we lay down new concrete and a new protective layer above that. However, as you mentioned, I think what I read in the Globe was that there was about 1.5 inches of rain in 2020 in the month of July, and we had 14 or 15 inches of rain in July of 2021, and that seems to have continued through August and some of September. So we are a little bit challenged when working with concrete if there's going to be a lot of rain or high moisture times, but we are making progress, and hopefully we'll be done soon.
And as of right now, riders can pick up and get dropped off on the buses on Hartwell Street, which is sort of just adjacent to the, let me see, north, I think, of the current terminal, and you'll see people there. Is it your hope that, and again, I'm putting my fingers crossed here, that potentially this can get done before we get into any other type of weather, all like snow, where there could be issues with the sidewalks there?
Yeah, we're certainly hopeful to be done much sooner than that. I don't see why it would last quite that long. But again, we need adequate dry time in order to do concrete work, and then have those days be not having rain on those days as well, and have enough time for it to cure afterwards. So it's a moving target, but we hope to wrap it up soon.
All right. Final question. Any other new initiatives coming up for riders to consider with the Transit Authority?
We don't have any new services coming up at this point. We're just excited to roll out the new pass product pricing that we have, and the new transfer for those using a stored value Charlie card, and see how ridership responds. We really want to make sure that we're pricing this right to make sure that the service is available for the passengers, but not so much so that they're not able to ride. So hopefully we've hit a sweet spot on this.
Yeah. All right. Erik Rousseau, the administrator of the Southeastern Regional Transit Authority. As always, thank you for your time, and we'll catch up again soon. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. And thank you for joining us here at FRC Media. I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great rest of your day.